Hi, it's Jason, and you are about to watch a clip from a previous live stream. And in that live stream, I probably had all sorts of extra commentary, personal experience, and things that might be helpful to you. Well, all of that's been cut out, and I get straight to the point in this clip because YouTube demands that for its clips. If you actually want to see all of that other stuff, though, you're going to have to catch me live. And the best way to do that is to subscribe and ring the notification bells so that it tells you when I go, because I'm not that consistent. But anyway, here's all the content that you actually came for. Bye. This was actually a function. I've been doing this for, gosh, I started working with master drives when I was 14. So I'm 38. So been doing it for a while, and I realized that there was this function that I have known about, I've even taught how to use, but I have never actually used in a project until last week. And it's called drive data sets. And if you're kind of a veteran of Siemens, you know about drive data sets, and maybe it's a more common idea than I give it credit for, but it's a way that you can actually set up multiple motors, multiple parameter sets on a drive so that you can actually, with a flip of a bit, quite literally 2 bits on a G120, you can change the entire kind of the way it's controlled. So like motor tuning, all of this, and exactly. Command data sets and drive data sets are very much the same thing. So command data sets are changing the way that you control the drive. So the easiest way for a command data set, like if you go through, let me show you this, because I don't know how to pronounce your name. Freerin? Because you were commenting. By the way, your motor, I don't know if you've watched the whole stream. So your motor looks very good. That is a very well balanced load. He's in Discord. He's in our Discord channel, or I guess they're in the Discord channel, and kind of, I was talking earlier about your load sharing application and kind of asking about it, and so yeah, your drives are load sharing pretty well, I would say, and so yeah, so a command data set is, let me pull this up in Portal, because I'll show you about the command data sets, because we went through this commissioning wizard, right? And there's one screen right here, right? And in our highlight, it says field bus with data set changeover, right? And so it's like, what? field bus with data set changeover. What's a data set changeover? Well, that's a command data set. And so this allows you to change from, and you can see right here, digital input 3 will change from, if you activate that, it will change from command data set 0 to command data set 1. Command data set 0 in this case is going to be, the way this is configured is Telegram 1. Here at Alpha, we only use Telegram 352 for vector control, but so command data set 0 is through the Profinet, but the command data set 1 is going to be actual hardwire control. So this is a way that you can do a like hardwired or PLC control of a drive. So like an actual bypass function for the PLC. So if your PLC junks out, and this is built into the drive. So that's a command data set. Well, the cool thing about it is that's just for the control, start, stop, like speed set point, stuff like that. Drive data set is for all of the drive parameters, not all of them, most of the drive parameters. And I'm going to be doing an edited video on how to use them. Since I love you guys so much, I'll show you just a little bit about what you'll be seeing in that drive video or the edited video. But just because I'm showing you this does not mean you don't get to skip watching it, right? If anything, I expect everybody in here to watch it twice and like it and comment. I'm joking, but kind of, not really. So let's look at these command data sets. And I was doing this all manually, or drive data sets. So if we click here on our functional view, and we have data sets, and I double clicked and I brought it down. We have our command data sets that we kind of talked about, and then we have our drive data sets as well. And drive data sets on a G120, we can have up to four drive data sets. And the way that I implemented this is, I didn't send myself a picture, but is at the plant that we have, or I was starting up the past couple weeks and been working on for a while. It has 13 bins feeding into one scale hopper. So like weighing scale hopper. And it looks like a big spider web of them all going into this one single point. Well, those need to be metered and need to have drives. And it's like, okay, you have to have 13 drives in order to run these, right? Well, no, you don't. Because technically, at most, you're going to be running 2 of those feeder screws at the same time, because every ingredient can only be weighed out one at a time. So, and then there's only 2 bins, or a couple of bins that have 2 of the same ingredient in it. So what I did was, all you have to do is have each motor be on a separate contactor. And you say, hey, feeder 1 is contactor 1, right? And then I want to run feeder 1, and it's going to get the drive. So on these 13 motors, 13 feeder screws, there's 2 drives, because you can only ever run 2 of them at the same time. So we have 2 drives. That's pretty cool. Pretty easy. Yeah, just select the contactor, tune it. Cool, right? Yeah. There's 3 different motors on these things. There's a 7.5 horsepower, a 10 horsepower, and a 15 horsepower motor. So not only do we have multiple drives, but we have multiple motors. They're multiple sizes of motors. So what I was able to do was use drive data sets to go through, and drive data set 0 was the 7.5 horsepower motor. Drive data set 1 was the 10 horsepower motor, and drive data set 3 or 2 was the 15 horsepower motor. And I did it a different way, but what you can do, add a new set. Okay, so I just clicked there and said add new drive data set. And what it's doing is you always start out as drive data set 0. And if you look up here in this top window up at the top, I hope I'm actually, yeah. If you look up at this top window up here, you can see, so you can see now we have a DDS 1 available here. So I can click delete, and I can delete this. By default, you have 1 drive data set. So you have drive data set 0, DDS 0. But because we set up that drive as a data set changeover for command data set, we have 2 command data sets, right? So that's what this is. So what I did is I went through, started off with 0, set this motor up as a 7.5 horsepower, and then I would click add new drive data set, and I would say, okay, I don't really need a copy. I'm going to set it up from scratch. And you say, okay, well now we have an option for drive data set 1. Now what you do is you go in, you select here, drive data set 1, that's what you were modifying. Now you go to commissioning, and on that same thing, drive data set 1, do the commissioning wizard, and you notice, okay, I can't change the expert class. That's the same. That's the same. But all of my motor data is different now. All of my stuff is different. So my motor data is not here anymore. So you could see that my drive data set is empty. So I can go back, and what I did is I added another one. And so now I have 3 total motors. And I went through and I would activate, go online, get it all downloaded, download all of the settings, and I downloaded them to where each time I would start up that data set, it would perform a tune. And all you have to do once you get all of your settings set up, you activate a drive data set 0, do the tune, copy RAM to ROM, upload, save, activate drive data set 1, do the tune on the 10 horsepower motor, copy RAM to ROM, upload, save, then activate, so on, so forth, so on. So how do you activate? Well, on a G120, you only have 4 options, so you need 2 bits for that 4 options. So, and all you do is you just activate these. Now, I set this up as a, in my, let's see if I can open up my library and show this to you. No, I don't even have a PLC in here. Do I have a reference project open? Nope, it's not there. So what I did in my 352 Telegram data type, I went through and in the control word, I changed the data type. Here, let me just add in a PLC real quick. 1550 TF. I'm gonna pull up this library just to show you the data type. Come on. taking a while. Okay, go through all this. Blah blah blah. I think I should, so let's open my library here. And again, if you're not familiar with what I'm doing here, I have a and you can't see it behind my head, but I have a library of all the alpha, my company's, all the data types and everything. And I have a data type that's called ag 352. This is drive tel 352 in and out. But in that, there is a there are these status words. And so I wanted to show you this. So this is the actual control word. And so I updated these 2 free bits. So in the standard 352 Telegram, these 2 values, so it's bit 8 and 9 in the control word, but because of the byte swapping, it comes in as this. So I just added these 2 bits. So DDS bit 0, DDS bit 1, and internally in the drive, I went and tied this to my Profinet Telegram. So I would go here, what is that, like 2090, 2080, something like that? 2090, Profi drive, receive bit, PZD1, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we could do that. Or we could go to communication, receive direction. Hold on. Let's get our parameter number. 820, 0 and 821. Receive direction. We're going to click on this little guy right here. And it's bit 8 and 9. And with Telegram 352, those bits are freely interconnectable. So we go to 820, 0. Right? And then 821. Okay, right there. Now, when we activate these bits, just by turning on these bits, depending on what numerical, so you want to activate bit 1. So if you turn on bit 0, so this one, turn that on, it'll swap it to DDS 1. If you turn on this, it'll go DDS 2, and then if you turn on both of them, it'll be DDS 3. If you do not have an active data set for it, it will not change the value. So it will not. So if you're on 2, like right now, we only have 3. We don't have 4. So we don't have that bit 0 and bit 1 on option. If we were to turn both of them on, it wouldn't change it to an unknown value. It just wouldn't change it all until it was a valid one. So you remember earlier how I said that the only way that you could catch the full live stream is by catching it live? Well, that's not exactly true, because all of our members have access to the VODs at all times. And if that's something that you're interested in, you should probably check it out. Plus, the higher level members get access to all of the projects that we create on stream. It's pretty cool. It's probably worth it, right?